To get started, I guess what we're looking at here is our design office, and what we're showing here is we have several seats of SolidWorks design software that we use for uh, design work, and we've got a couple seats of programming software that we use to program our CNC machines that you probably hear running in the background.
Yeah, we can hear it.
The roamer arm that you're looking at here is an electronic digitizing arm, and it basically rotates in all three axes, X, Y, and Z, and very accurately documents what it measures. You can put different styluses in the tip, and you can measure holes and layouts. We use this to measure the transmission and document the transmission patterns to make different adapter plates. So this is how we got our first S10 adapter plate design.
So what are those three pieces that look like measuring devices in front of it?
The three things up front are just basically magnetic blocks, and we use those to position materials on the table. That table is a big solid piece of ground steel, so we position parts on there with magnets, and those are magnetic blocks.
Gotcha, okay.
This unit coming up is our CNC Turning Center, and this thing does automated turning. It's programmed in the office. This is an employee cutting some stock. And we use the turning center to machine our couplers, our motor couplers. So this is a drawing of our S10 coupler, or some kind of a coupler. This table's inspection table goes with the lathe. We always check our first pieces off and check them for dimensions. You can see some motor couplers on the table, taper locks and S10 couplers that we were getting ready to ship that day. So this is basically a turning lathe, but it's run by a computer control. And the operator's just showing the door here. I don't have any parts running in it right at the minute this is shot, but we're showing the tooling that's inside the machine and the different things that we can do with it. We thread stainless and brass and steel. It's hard to see in the door. We have to close the door to run the parts because the coolant flow will just really wash your face quickly if you run it with the door open. This is an overview of the rest of the CNC Machine Shop. We have a large bridge mill that's right in front of the screen there now, and two large format vertical CNC machining centers that we're scanning across. This machine is our YCM machine. I think it has like a 30-inch by 60-inch travel. This view is basically showing a vise with some small parts cutting on it, but it's a pretty large format machining center. We can get full-size adapter plates in there and other parts. This machine's a Miltronics CNC machining center, and then we're panning over here to the Miltronics bridge mill where we do a lot of plate work. A lot of 2D cuts. This machine's open, doesn't have the cabinetry on it, so we can get larger plates in and out of it. And we're just kind of scanning through the area there. This view is actually our Powdercoat Oven. We do complete powder coating. Our motor adapter plates we powder coat. We also are a Teflon applicator, and this oven has a programmable controller on it, so we can program specific batches on how to set temperatures at different set points. It doesn't just heat and cool. It can be programmed to heat in a certain way. We use a manual Gemma powder coat gun, which was the yellow unit. And I don't know why, but I stuck the camera in the burner orifice here to show that it's a gas-fired oven.
What kind of temperature does that run at?
This oven will heat up to 850 degrees, and we use that high temperature for the Teflon coating that we use in our industrial molds. But the powder coat we heat to about 400 degrees. And looking at the control here, we must have been doing a powder coat run that day because it was in the 300s. This gentleman's just cutting some foam samples. We do a lot of prototype work also, both on the EV side and on the mold shop. So we're actually cutting a foam blank into a prototype for our customer.
So, for example, you could cut the transmission adapter out of foam before you have to do it out of aluminum.
Yeah, if we wanted to, sure. We do a lot of model making, pattern making, prototype work. So he was just roughing that piece of foam out. Here's the same machine with a big piece of aluminum billet on it, and I can't even tell you what the part is that he's machining there, but it's looks like about a 2.5 inch, 3 inch thick solid piece of billet aluminum. And I zoomed in here to show the control. The control basically just executes a series of codes that tells the machine where to go, left, right, up, and down. It's all programmed in the office that it was shown on the first view there. This view is showing a pretty good sized piece of billet in the machine now. This was about a 3,000 pound chunk that we had stuck in there. We were cutting for an industrial mold. Some pallet racking with stock. We cut a lot of aluminum, a couple 100,000 pounds a year. This is a tooling stand with some of the tooling for the CNC machines, so we do drilling and reaming and cutting. All pretty standard machining processes.
And this machine can run 24 hours if you have it programmed overnight and through the weekends?
We run double shift. We run 2 shifts during the day, attended, and generally a 3rd shift unattended at night and weekends. We try and run unattended as often as we can and keep the machines under power and keep them cutting. And it just depends on the specific part being run, but we run lights off whenever we can.
And
so,
how long does it take to run that adapter?
A motor adapter plate runs in about 45 minutes. The pieces of billet you saw in there were actually running 70, 80 hours, so it was pretty long run on those parts. This is a view of the rest of the shop, and I'm just panning the view here. We've got about 30,000 feet in here that we operate out of. This is part of the mold components that are sitting here in process. We do TIG welding and MIG welding, and we do some copper work for cooling lines, and I'm just kind of panning around here. We have a big bending brake. We do sandblasting and grit blasting for our powder coat process. And this is a rack of basically aluminum cutouts. Again, we cut a lot of aluminum plate work for the molds, so we always have a lot of extra pieces or small pieces. I don't know the exact numbers, but we run a couple 100,000 pounds a year. These are S10 battery frames and battery boxes. So they're welded up. They haven't been powder coated yet, but they're being processed. They happen to be sitting there, so I took a shot of those sitting on the floor. More S10 battery boxes in the powder coat room waiting to be powder coated. And this is a mold plate for some of our industrial work. Here's a operator that's finishing up one of our S10 adapter plates. He's installing the hardened steel dowel pins. So this adapter plate's actually been cast and then CNC machine, and we do the final fit ups with the pins, and it was being shipped out to a customer that day. So we're just wrapping it up here. And that's our S10 adapter. And these are S10 motor couplers. Again, these were going to be shipped out that day. There's an adapter on the left, and the red ones are powder coated adapters. And that was basically our finished stock getting ready to be shipped out.